Look at how we can make scatter plots in Excel using a table of data. For this data, we're going to use Beep Beep's bedtime habits as an example. If you're not familiar with Beep Beep, Beep Beep is a bear who likes to eat. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to start off with some data here that explains what Beep Beep has eaten for the last 3 days before going to bed. We have he tends to have cans of Coke and cookies. The first day he had 1 can of Coke and 8 cookies. The second day he had 2 cans of Coke and 7 cookies, and the third day 3 cans of Coke and 3 cookies. We want to make a scatter plot or a scatter graph of his eating habits. Now, I've already got this in a table form, so I just need to click in there. Now, and notice how I've set up the table. The first column is always going to be the x-axis, and the second column is going to be the y-axis. If you have several variables, the easiest way to make a scatter plot is to simply copy the columns that you want so that the x-axis is on the left and the y-axis is on the right, and that there's no other columns in the table. Just have a table with 2 columns, and that'll make a scatter plot pretty automatically. So if I had actually had 4, 5, 6 columns of data, I would have just copied the columns that interested me into a separate sheet, into a separate tab, so that I had 2 columns where the X is in the first column and the Y is in the second column. And if you don't have it as in a table form like that, you would go to Insert and then make a table out of the data that you have. But we already have it in a table form. So in order to make the scatter plot, I go to Insert, and then in the Charts area, I look for the scatter plot, and I click on this, and I choose the first one that it gives me, and I have gotten a scatter plot now with the cans of Coke on the bottom and the number of cookies eaten before bed. So let's see if we can clear this up. Let's add some labels to the axes. So I'm going in Chart Tools, Design. I'm going to add chart elements, axis titles. I want a primary horizontal. That will be cans of Coke drank, cans of Coke before bed. And now I want to do a vertical axis. So I go to Add Chart Element, Axis Title, Primary Vertical. And it's fine with me if it's written vertically. I could rotate that if I wanted to. And this is cookies eaten. Is that spelled correctly? Yeah, probably. Okay, let's change the title. Let's give it Beep Beep's Bedtime Snacks. Beep Beep's Bedtime Snacks. And now we've got all of these grid lines here. Now the grid lines, sometimes they're useful, sometimes they just get in the way. I think they get in the way here. So I'm going to see if I can take those out. The grid lines, primary, major, horizontal, nope, I don't want those. Grid lines, primary, major, vertical, I don't want those either. Okay, that's a lot more clear there. So now we can see what's eaten. Now, suppose I also wanted a trend line. Let's see if I can add a trend line over here. And I want it linear, but I'm going to go to more trend line options so I can get an equation as well. And so over here, I'll move over there. I'm going to choose linear, and I want to display an equation on the chart, and that will be good. And there I've got everything that I'm looking for. And so here we have a scatter plot throwing the 3 points that he eats, and then a trend line describes the best fitting line that would fit the data points that we have, and it even gave us an equation for how to predict how many cookies he would eat given the number of cans of Coke. So y is the number of cookies, and x is the number of cans of Coke, and we basically see that when he doesn't drink any Coke, we would expect him to eat 11 cookies, and that would go down by 2.5 cookies for each can of Coke that he drinks. And so here we've made a scatter plot for Beep Beep's bedtime snacks. We've added a trend line or regression line, as well as the equation for estimating that line.